For 5 minutes this happened. So people would probably look at me going, this guy's really weird. He's come to the gym and he's just spinning around like I'm the earth. Simon Miller, the bald a-hole here, and straight away you're saying to yourself, Simon, why are you sat there in a hoodie with the hood up? I don't have an answer for you other than, why the hell not? And then you go, because it's not raining. Don't pretend that's what hoods are for anymore in 2020. The idea of the hood has changed exponentially over the last 10, 15 years. Now you just wear your hood up because it feels nice, right? Especially when you have no hair like me, the bald a-hole. It's nice to have cotton rubbing onto my skull. I've missed that feeling. I've now been bald for what? Nobody cares. What are we even talking about? What we are going to talk about today is the things that happen in the gym that just make you so damn mad, and there's no one really to talk about because they're first world problems and they don't matter. But in that very moment, when they do occur in the fitness center or the Power Palace, where did that come from? Thank you, brain. In the Power Palace, it just kicks your own ass. And I know this because I've been going to the gym for a while, and I have experienced everyone. I get super duper mad, and then 2 hours later, when I'm not as mad, I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, you should be ashamed, Simon. You should be absolutely ashamed. So yes, my friends, sit down, get yourself a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, or some water to hydrate yourself. These are the 10 worst things that can happen in the gym. Number 10, you can already guess it. I bet it's the first thing that came into your head. You can feel it in your bones, you can feel it in your stomach, you can feel it in your guts. Forgetting your headphones. How annoying is it when you've driven to the gym, you've walked to the gym, you've run to the gym, maybe you flew to the gym because you're very rich and you go there in a helicopter, but you get there and then you put your hand in your pocket, you're like, wait a minute. You put your hand in the other pocket, you're like, wait a minute. You look in your bag, you're like, wait a minute. You haven't brought your flipping headphones, which leads you with two very difficult positions to be in. Number one is listening to the music in the gym. I'm not here to judge anyone. I love you all. If you enjoy the music that the gym puts out, I worry about your sanity. I am, of course, joking. Music is for everybody. Or two, you're just going to blare it out of your phone. That is a gym no-no. That's a life no-no. You should never walk around blaring music out your phone. Everybody thinks you're a massive jackass. And even though they never say anything to you, they'll turn to the person they're with and they'll go, that person was a massive jackass. And their friend goes, yeah, they were. So then, secret option number 3 is you have to go all the way back home and get your headphones simply because you can't train without headphones. Now, I've been in the gym on occasion. I've had my headphones in and maybe I've stopped playing my music or I'm listening to a podcast. And, for one reason, maybe someone's trying to talk to me. I've cut communications with my listening device and I'm perfectly cool with that. But it's because I know I can reactivate it at any time. I genuinely mean this from the bottom of my heart. I would rather somebody cut off one of my toes, because who really needs 10 toes? You ain't gonna miss a toe. I would rather somebody cut off my toe if they could also guarantee me that I would never forget my headphones again going to the gym. It's a very weird trade I'm doing here, and I would certainly question how the person I'm talking to came to this kind of agreement, but I do it. That's how much it drives me nuts. Number 9 is dropping a weight on your foot. In life, right, you get born, you go to school, you pay taxes and you die. We've all heard that rhyme. We all have to go through it. In the gym, you're 100% going to get a shoulder injury, and also at one stage, you will drop a weight on your foot. And once again, you are presented with 2 options. The first is, do I sell this? Or do I try and act like a man? This is what I did when I dropped it on my toe. I'll tell you in a minute. But I dropped it on my foot and I just went, I made a noise like I was about to give birth, which I kind of wanted to, because if a man gives birth, I'm going to make loads of cash. I was actually on a date, which sounds really weird, but I was. I went on a date to the gym. I don't know why this happened. Not like I didn't meet them in the gym. It wasn't really a date. It was somebody that I met and we got to know each other and we decided to go to This is a long ass story. It's a long time ago. But, I was still in that zone when you're trying to impress them. So I was like, what does that even mean? Imagine that. You drop a heavy thing. I think it was like 35 kilograms. You drop 35 kilograms on your foot and you go, oh, my foot. If that person turns around and goes, I don't find you attractive anymore, you don't want to date this person. It would hurt anybody unless you don't have any nerve endings. But yes, you do have to decide whether you're going to sell the pain, and then you've got to deal with the injury. I'm not going to show it to you because I don't like it. And if I'm disgusted by it, I don't have the confidence, but it's true. What side is it on? My left foot, big toe. My nail from this incident is still all screwed up. And I've been to a doctor and I've been to a foot doctor and I've been to all of these people. And then it's like, yeah, man, you just killed that. You just killed your toe. And we can operate on it, but do you want to do that? I'm like, no, you crazy bean. But yeah, you're going to have to experience that and you're going to have to make some really quick decisions. Because if you do make a lot of noise in the gym, everyone is going to look at you. If you drop the weight and go, oh, they'll be like, oh, what's wrong? And then you're going to have all this attention you need to deal with. It sucks. Number 8, one of my favorites, absolutely. You get on your bench or you set up your equipment and you're all good to go. Let's say you got a couple of 20s and let's say you do an incline press and you start to incline press and you know on that first rep, but by rep 2, rep 3, you're like, damn it, these weights are too light. And then you find yourself in this predicament. Do I count this as a set? I do it all the time. Do I count this as a set and maybe try and rep out, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more than I would usually? Is it now a warm-up set? Or should I just give this up and go and get the heavier weight? It shouldn't be this much of it's like a maths equation. So you look at it going, well, that's pi, x the 4, underline the 2. Just make a decision, but I can't. Sometimes I do all of them. Sometimes it's a warm-up, sometimes it's a light set, and sometimes I just give up and go and get other weights. But it's so strange, like, especially if sometimes I have to go to different gyms and there's no balance between any of the weights. Like I was doing deadlifts in the gym the other day using the exact same plate weights, or the exact same, heaviness that I was in another gym, and it was twice as hard. And that could just be because I was tired, or maybe I hadn't eaten enough food that day, whatever. But that just throws your brain off too. But I know you've done it, and I know you've had the same, especially if you're doing a compound movement. Deadlifts, we'll talk about those. It sucks, right? I take all the weights off, put them all back on, and we do it, but we'd rather somebody else did. And so you go through this evolution in your head. Just fix it. Number 8 is the opposite of number 10, and that's when you leave the gym without your stuff. You've put it in the locker, the same locker you always use. Nobody else can use it. Number 42, that's your locker. Nobody touches 42. You are Mr. 42 or Mrs. 42. And then you're like, damn it. Then you go through this moment when you're like, do I need that stuff? And it's your wallet and it's your bag. It's not your keys, obviously, because you're probably driving your car. But yes, you do absolutely need to do that. And you need to turn around and go and get it. And then you feel stupid because there are many establishments that you can leave and go back in. A pub, for example. Maybe you stepped out to take a phone call to get some fresh air and you're going back in to meet your friends. Nobody leaves the gym and then 2 minutes later goes back to the gym. Nobody. Unless you've had some kind of existential crisis where you're like, I did not train hard enough. I must go back in and do one more big set, but you would wade 2 down the line if you do that. Can't stand it. It's just so annoying. And then you hate yourself. You get mad, but you're mad at yourself. It's not like there's a secret guy called Larry who came and did that Men in Black flashy thing in your face. You're like,
I am just a figment of your imagination.
And you forgot what you were meant to do. You're just a moron. And number 6 ties into the title of this video, the worst things that can happen in the gym, and it's when every single piece of equipment is being used. I understand that you need to be flexible in the gym, and although you may have a plan, you're going to have to call some audibles here and there. But if you're doing a specific body part, we'll go with chest, and you look at the benches and they're all being used. You look at the cable machine and it's being used. And you look at the floor and all the floor space is being used. And all the dumbbells are being used. And you can't even find a place to do some press-ups. You're like, what the hell am I meant to do here? It's called a gym, and right now I can't even train. I would be better off if I'd come in here with my plan being taking my head and smash it into a wall. I could be more productive smashing my skull open than actually doing one stinking press up. Now, I'm actually lucky with the gym I go to. It's so well placed and spaced out at the moment with social distancing. This never happens. But then the other day I had to go late to the gym. So I went to a gym that's open later. That place should be shut down. They ain't paying attention to any of the rules. And at one point, I was like a dog chasing my tail. I was walking around like this, just looking in sort of every single, northeast, southwest, constantly hoping something was going to get free. And did it get free? Not once. For 5 minutes, this happened. So people would probably look at me going, this guy's really weird. He's come to the gym and he's just spinning around like I'm the earth. Number 5 is something I do a lot. Listen to really loud music in the gym. I already have tinnitus from when I used to be in a band. Well, I'm still in a band. Obviously, it's not going as productive as it used to because of lockdown, blah, 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 boring. But I listen to a lot of music, plow music into my ears. It's one of my favorite things about the gym. I think it's great. Best time to listen to new music. Sometimes, however, the gym music, which is usually at level 49, it's like bruh, 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 bashing, they turn it right down. And then all of a sudden, I can hear how loud my music is. But because the background music or the background sound, the atmosphere is now lower, and I can hear me making my grunts and noises, and I don't like grunting in the gym. I try not to do it. But because they've lowered the music, it means that everybody else can hear my grunting, which is usually at a level that nobody else would be able to hear. And I'm just going to tell you the truth, I get embarrassed. Nobody needs to hear stuff like, I sound like somebody recording voiceover lines for a cartoon. Have you seen Tom Hanks do that in Toy Story? Google it right now, YouTube. It's very funny.
Last thing for you, usually at the end of a very long workday, is the grunts.
So he has to do stuff like, blah, yeah, blah. And that's what I sound like. But it's patently obvious I'm not doing that. So yeah, gyms, as much as I don't really like the soundtrack that you play, please keep it really loud. Number 4 is very specific to me, but it is, of course, when you start doing lunges and then you look at your legs after sort of 12, 14, 16 weeks and you're like, ah, damn it, they've developed. They've got bigger. And that ties into when I started doing lunges, so now I've got to keep doing them. If you're new to the channel, I hate lunges. And because I hate myself, I do them anyway because I understand. But yeah, my mortal enemy is lunges. If I was going to be, portrayed in a movie and they said, Simon, we need this big scene. We want some kind of, some kind of villain to stand in your way. I would say the lunge. And they would say, but we can't visualize the lunge. Like, would you want us to have a giant leg just lunging throughout the screen? And I go, yes, please. Or it can be me doing lunges and maybe my legs have become the enemy and they're not a part of me anymore and they have their own brain. If you are a executive producer at Hollywood right now, you're probably saying, I don't want to offer this guy a film deal, but please do, because I'd like to give it a go. And if you haven't seen my video, when I was offered a role in Mission Impossible 7, you can search the channel right now. I'll give you a little spoiler. It was a ruse. It was a hoax. Somebody was trying to trick me, but I did have a good time with it. Number 3 is when you forget your code. Now, the gym I go to 9 times out of 10 is just a little barcode on your phone. Bleep, bleep, scan, you go in. But there's other ones I go to where it's a code when you stand in one of those Star Trek-like pods, or whatever you want to call them. It's an elimination chamber, really, like you're in WWE. And you try and put in your code that you know works, and it doesn't work. And then you realize you don't have your phone or anything with you. So I can't remember what the code is. So you have to stand there like you're trying to break into a bank. Like you're trying to break into Fort Knox. Like you are a criminal. You're like, bleep, 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 bleep. And you're like, there's a queue behind you. You're like, oh no, everybody's looking at me. And then you finally find your code, bleep, 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 and it doesn't work. And so now you just stood there, you've already created a scene, but you don't know what to do because a lot of the time the gyms where you do need codes don't actually have people manning the place. So like, well, what? And you just have to sort of step to one side. And every single person goes like this. Next person. Because you slowed them down. And they've probably taken their pre-workout or their coffee and they're well pumped and they want to go. But honestly, it's another moment where you just get so embarrassed. Just like, oh, why am I such a loser? Why am I such a why can't I remember my stupid gym code? Number 2 is the induction. I've been to a lot of gyms in my life, right? And I would like to think, I'm not saying this in an arrogant way, but I'd like to think at least people could tell I go to the gym, because that would be quite insulting for me to spend 20 years of my life trying to develop my body and someone going, do you go to the gym? But oh man, am I that much of a pune you can't tell? But then you go to other gyms and they insist on you having an induction. I don't need an induction. I don't need to see how the chest press works or the leg machine. Oh, we have to have an induction to train. And you're like, can I not just tell you that I do this and sign to a kind of a form? Like, no, I have to give you an induction. So you have to walk around with this pleb, not their fault, but I'm in a mood now, to walk around with this pleb who is literally teaching you, these are the 3 weights, please be careful, please all up beforehand, this is the machine, this is how I do eyes, this is how I do a pull-up, and you're just like, oh man. And then they'll tell you something that's not true, and you have to make a very quick decision, right, am I going to be an ass and say, oh, I don't agree with that, but then you go, no, I'm not going to, because I'm not that type of a person. I hate the gym induction. I hate it. You don't learn anything, and you have to watch some, and usually you're doing it with other people, right, and it's 100%, these other people should ask questions, they should, but when you just wanted to work out, and you'd already taken your pre-workout again, because you didn't know you have to go to induction, because you'd never been to this gym before, so you're already buzzing, like, oh man, my blood's going crazy, and then somebody will ask a question like, oh, how does a lat pull down work? And you're like, oh man, and then they have to demonstrate lat pull downs for an hour, and at that time it's worn off, and you just go home, and like, that wasn't a successful session. And number 1, I know you're gonna be with me, is trying to move that damn the cable pulley attachment. That damn cable pulley attachment. Why does it never... Honestly, I have had harder workouts trying to pick that thing in the upwards direction. It just doesn't move, and it fights you. It is like trying to deadlift a truck. Because always, every time you find it, it's always on the lowest setting. No one ever keeps it on the highest setting because they want to do stupid bicep curls. So you're pulling it up and you're just like, ugh. And people are looking at you like, why are you struggling so much with that? Like, you come and try. This is like the sword in the stone.
Were written these words: Whoso pulleth out this sword of this stone and anvil is rightwise king.
This is like King Arthur and the sword in the stone. It's like Thor's hammer. Only the person with the magic touch is able to move it. Why does nobody oil these things? Why can't we get some WD-40 on this Mother Hubbard yesterday? Every gym I go to, it's like, I want to do bicep curls, the top one. I'm just sold myself out there for what I just said. But you're pulling and you're pulling and it won't move. And the irony of that, because it's called a cable pull and it ain't pulling. There you go. Kapow, wham, bam, smash. Thank you, ma'am. 10 of the worst things in the gym, and there'll be more. So let me know in the comments below. It's just so good getting these things off my chest. Don't actually annoy me at all, but they're little funny things that I enjoy sharing. Like the video, share the video, like I just said. Subscribe to the channel. It's right there. Hit the bell, ding, ding. There'll be another video on the screen right now. Click that. I've got merchandise. I've got Twitter. I've got Instagram. I've got Patreon in the description below. Flex's tees have been reordered. They'll be back in stock soon. I'll let you know in a video. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon.